It was one of those afternoons where the world itself seemed to breathe a little easier. The sun hung warmly in the sky, painting everything in a soft golden hue. After what felt like an endless week at work, filled with deadlines, pressure, and exhaustion, I was finally free. Free to spend time with the one person who could always lift my spirits, my daughter, Emma. Just holding her little hand as we walked together toward the park made the weight of the week feel lighter. Emma's excitement was contagious. She was practically pulling me along, her laughter echoing through the air as she darted ahead toward the swings, our little tradition. She was my anchor, my sunshine, the one reminder that no matter how chaotic life became, there was always purity and joy in her world. Claire, my wife, had promised she'd join us later after finishing a few errands. It wasn't unusual, so I didn't think much of it. But as we got closer to the playground, I noticed something out of place. Across the field, just beyond the laughter of children and the creak of the swings, stood Claire. She wasn't alone. She was with Coach Tyler, the baseball coach from the community league. At first, it seemed harmless. They were just talking. But then I noticed how close they stood, how their laughter lingered too long, and how their faces leaned in toward one another in a way that didn't feel right. I was about to call out when Emma tugged at my hand, her innocent voice cutting through the moment like a blade. "That's the coach kissing Mom," she said casually, as if she were simply pointing out a bird in the sky. My world stopped. My chest tightened and my vision blurred, like reality itself was slipping away. I wanted to believe Emma had misunderstood, that a child's imagination had twisted something ordinary into something else. But her tone, so matter-of-fact, so casual, told me otherwise. I forced myself to ask her what she meant, my voice cracking under the weight of dread I wasn't ready to carry. Emma simply pointed again, her little eyes unbothered by the storm that was forming inside me. "The coach and Mom, Daddy. They were kissing. They always do." Those words pierced me deeper than anything I'd ever felt before. Always? How could that be? How long had this been happening right under my nose? I tried to push it away, tried to convince myself she didn't understand what she was seeing. She was just a child. But deep inside, something broke. The seed of doubt was planted, and I couldn't ignore it. The rest of the day passed in a haze. I smiled for Emma, pushed her on the swings, but my heart was far away. Every laugh from her felt bittersweet because my mind wouldn't stop replaying what she had said. The image of Claire with Tyler clung to me like a nightmare I couldn't shake off. Later that evening, Claire finally came home. She looked the same as always, beautiful, calm, but there was a shift, a subtle distance in her eyes. I noticed how she moved a little differently, how her smile seemed a bit too forced. My heart hammered in my chest as I asked the question I had been dreading. "Claire, did you kiss Coach Tyler today?" The spoon in her hand nearly slipped, her face paling as her eyes flickered with fear before she quickly masked it. Her attempt at sounding casual was unconvincing. I pressed again, unable to let it go. "Emma saw you. She told me. What's going on?" The silence that followed was unbearable. Finally, with a whisper that shattered the last of my hope, Claire admitted it. "I didn't want you to find out this way. Tyler and we've been seeing each other. I didn't mean for it to happen, but I love him." Her words felt like a knife twisting in my chest. Love him? Not just a mistake, not just a moment of weakness, but love. The woman I had trusted with my heart, the mother of my child, had built something with another man while I lived blind to it. I stood there, speechless, unable to comprehend how everything I believed in could collapse so quickly. Tears filled her eyes as she tried to explain, as if explanations could soften the betrayal. She said Tyler had been there for her, that things just happened. But nothing she said mattered anymore. Trust, once broken, can't simply be glued back together. I told her I couldn't do it anymore. I was done. She begged me not to leave, swore we could fix it, but her promises meant nothing now. The foundation of our marriage had already crumbled, and there was no rebuilding on ruins. The days that followed were the hardest of my life. Claire moved out, and I tried my best to protect Emma from the storm of emotions I was drowning in. But how do you explain betrayal to a child? How do you tell her that the family she knew no longer existed? Claire and Tyler stayed together. Watching that was its own kind of torture, but I had no choice but to focus on what mattered, my daughter, my healing, and slowly rebuilding the pieces of my life. I became a single father, and though the nights were long and the loneliness overwhelming, I discovered strength I didn't know I had. Months passed. The pain dulled, though it never fully went away. There were moments I missed Claire, moments I longed for the life we once had, but reality always brought me back. She chose him. She destroyed the trust we had. And that was something I could never unsee, never forgive. Betrayal is more than just an affair. It's the death of trust, the loss of love, and the silence of nights spent wondering how everything went wrong. But it's also a chance to rise, to rebuild, and to prove to yourself that someone else's choices don't define your future. If you've ever faced betrayal, know this. You are stronger than the pain. Don't stay trapped in the ruins of someone else's mistakes. There's always a way forward. You deserve better, even if it doesn't feel that way now. And maybe, just maybe, the heartbreak isn't the end of your story, but the beginning of a new one.